Hey guys, here's your homework number 13, multi-step factoring. So, when you guys take a look at number 1, first of all, there's 3 terms, so you guys know it's a trinomial, 3 terms. Also, if you all look that this has a power of 6 and this has a power of 3. 6 is double of 3, so that means this is an indication we should probably do a u substitution. Now we're going to set u equals to the middle term for x to the third. Now, this, you guys, really looks like this. X to the third to the second is x to the sixth. So what we can do is just substitute in u and for x to the third to get u squared minus 7u plus 12. And now this is just a quadratic, you guys, so 3 terms. And if you all look, your a value is a 1, which means you guys do a times c up top, 12, b on the bottom. The 2 numbers that multiply to 12, but when you add it gives you guys negative 7, is negative 4 and negative 3. And since a is equals to 1, we just use the 2 side numbers, u minus 4 and u minus 3. Now, the only thing with this is we did not start off with u's in the beginning. We had x's. So we can plug in x to the third back in for our u's. X to the third minus 4 and x to the third minus 3. And there you guys go. Number 2. Okay. Can we factor out something from each term? Yes, we can divide both of them by a 2. 98 divided by 2, 49x squared. Negative 8 divided by 2, negative 4. And now we have 2 terms. 49 and 4 are perfect squares, and there's a minus sign between, so we can find a number times itself for both of them because they're both perfect squares. 7x times 7x is 49x squared. So 7x and 7x. 2 times 2 is 4. So 2 and 2, and plus and minus. Number 3. There's 4 terms here, so let's try grouping. From here, you guys can factor out 2 x's, so x to the second, 4x plus 3. And from here, you can divide each of the numbers by an 11, but since there's a negative in the front, we factor out a negative 11. Negative 44 divided by negative 11 is positive 4x. Negative 33 divided by negative 11 is positive 3. Now, that's great, that's matching, so we can factor that out and we get x squared minus 11 and 4x plus 3. Number 4. It's a trinomial, 3 terms. Look at our a value. A is equals to 1. This coefficient in the front is 1. So you guys could do the x method. Negative 36 up top, 5 on the bottom. The 2 numbers that multiply to give you negative 36, but when you add it gives you positive 5, is 9 and negative 4. And again, since a is equals to 1, we just use the 2 side numbers. X plus 9, x minus 4. Okay. Number 5. You can factor out a 3 from each one. 5x squared. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 57 divided by 3 is 19x. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. Okay, so look at the 3 terms, you guys. We have a case where a is greater than 1. Look, that 5 is bigger than 1. So that means you guys can do it by grouping or by guess and check. A times c is 5 times negative 4 for negative 20. The bottom is 19. 20 times negative 1. And since a is greater than 1, you guys do this by grouping. So write down the first term, 5x to the second the summation of the two middle terms and the last term. Group. Factor out a 5x from both to get x plus 4. Factor out a negative 1 for both to get x plus 4. They both match, so we get 5x minus 1 and x plus 4. Now, please don't forget this 3 that we factored out from the beginning. Also, you could have done it by guess and check. And if you did get it by guess and check from this, you guys, you would have had, okay, this is the guess and check method. What two numbers multiplied together gives you guys 5x squared? It's just 5x times x. What two numbers would give you guys negative 4? Well, our factors of negative 4 is 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. But one of them has to be a negative number because a negative times a positive would give you a negative number. So one of these has to be a negative. Well, we're trying to get the middle term to be positive 19x, so let's multiply 5 by a big number. Let's make this the positive 4. But if you make that positive 4, that means this one has to be the minus 1. And if you guys do that right, negative 1 times x is negative x. 5 times 4 is positive 20x. 20 times negative x would give you guys a 19x, which means this would also be the guess and check. And still, don't forget the 3. Just two ways to go about it. 16. Can you factor out something from each term? Yes, you can factor out a 2. Now, there's two terms, and both of these are perfect cubes, meaning there is a quantity times itself 3 times is these. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, so a is going to equal to 2. X times x times x is x to the third, so your b value is going to be x. And because this is sum and difference of cubes, this is where you guys use your formula. AB, a squared, ab, b squared. Same, opposite, always positive. SOAP, right? Now you guys just plug in your a's and b's in for your 2's and your x's in for your a's and b's. So don't forget this 2 that we factored out in the beginning. Everywhere I see an a, it now becomes 2. So 2, and everywhere I see a b, now it becomes an x. 2 plus x. We're plugging in the 2 for a squared, so 2 to the second power is 2 times 2, which is 4. Now plug in 2 into here and b into here, you guys. So 2 times x is negative 2x. And lastly, plug in your x into there, you guys. X to the second power is just x squared. And there's your guys' factor. Number 7. The only thing you can do here is factor out a 12 from both 48 and 36. 48 divided by 12 is 4x. 36 divided by 12, you guys, is minus 3. And that's all you guys can do. This is not a difference of squares, or it's not a sum and difference of cubes. So that's the only thing you guys can do. Just factor out the GCF. Number 8. You can factor out a 2 from each one and divide all of them by 2. Now notice your a value is 1. So when you guys do your x method, 30 up top, 11 on the bottom. The two numbers that multiply to 30, but when added give you guys 11, that's 5 and 6. And remember, since a is equals to 1, you just use the 2 side numbers. Don't forget the 2. So 2 times x plus 5 and x plus 6. Number 9. Can't factor out something from 5, 46, and 9. It's a trinomial. So a is greater than 1. So we could do x method or guess and check, right? A times c is 45. So 5 times 9 is 45. Negative 46 on the bottom. The two numbers are negative 45 and negative 1. Now since a is greater than 1, you guys could do this by grouping. first term, the combination to get the middle term, and the last term, which is 9. Factor, 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 factor. You can factor out 5x from the first parentheses to get x minus 9. And you can factor out a negative 1, because there's a negative in the front, from the next one. And as you guys can see, they match, so 5x minus 1, x minus 9. Okay, number 10. Can you factor out something from each term? Yes, you can factor out a 5. Now we have a equals to 1 case, right? That's 1. So now you guys do x method and just use the two side numbers. -8, -2. -4 plus 2. -4 times 2 is -8. -4 plus 2 is -2. And since a is equal to 1, we just use our two side numbers. So don't forget this 5. X minus 4 and x plus 2. 11. We can't factor out something from each term, so we got two terms, and they are both perfect squares, which means we can find something times itself to give us that. So square root of 49x squared, 7x times 7x, square root of 100y squared, 10y, 10y, plus and minus. Number 12. You guys can factor out a 3 from both. X to the third. 81 divided by 3 is minus 27. We have two terms, which means we could do a sum and difference of cubes, because both of these are cube rootable. Meaning there is a number times itself 3 times is that. X times x times x is x to the third, so your A is x. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So your B is 27. Or sorry, 3. Now let's do our formula, right? AB, A squared, AB, B squared. Use SOAP. Same sign, opposite sign, always positive. So now, just plug in x in for A and 3 in for B. But please don't forget the 3 that we factored out in the beginning. X minus 3, plug in x into A squared, x squared. A times B, x times 3 is plus 3x. B squared, 3 squared is 9. 13. This is a 4, and this has a 2, right? It's double, so this is a u substitution for the middle term, x squared. So you got 5u squared minus 3u minus 2. A times c up top for negative 10 and the bottom negative 3. The two numbers are negative 5, I got a brain fart, and positive 2. And everyone look, a is greater than 1, so you gotta factor this by a is greater than 1 factoring. 5u squared, the two middle terms now, minus 5u plus 2u minus 2. Group, so we got 5u to get u minus 1, and factor out a 2 to get u minus 1. They both match, so 5u plus 2, u minus 1. Now again, we did not start off with u, we started with x's, so plug in x squared back in for these. Number 14. There's 4 terms, so you guys can factor this by grouping. Factor out an x squared from there to get x minus 1. Factor out a negative 2 from there to get x minus 1. X squared minus 2, x minus 1. 15. From 63 and 42, you guys can factor out a 21. They both have an x term, so you can factor out an x, and they both have a y, so you can factor out a y. 63 divided by 21 is 3. And we took away an x and y, so no more x and y. Negative 42 divided by 21 is negative 8. And again, you took away an x and you took away a y from here. So it's just x, y squared. You can always check your answer by distributing the 21xy back into here and seeing if it matches up with this too. And lastly, 16. I know a lot of you want to factor this by difference of squares, but there's a plus sign in the middle, and you cannot factor out a difference of squares with a plus sign. So this one is not factorable. So hopefully this helps. Just constantly practice, you guys. Practice until you can get these down without your notes and without assistance. So just continuously practice, and you should be able to get better and better at this. Okay? Good luck, everyone. Peace.